Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Namo Gurubhyaha. So we were looking at the first chapter, fourth Brahmana, we finished in the last class. The fourth Brahmana is a very important Brahmana because in that Brahmana, particularly 147 to 1410, that portion is teaching Advaita, where initially Brahman was presented as the one which is there in the undifferentiated state, and then it differentiates itself. What is avyakritam becomes vyakritam in the form of nama, rupa and karma, names, forms, action, activities. And then Brahman itself enters this creation. So that Pravesha Shruti was discussed a lot. What is the meaning of the entry of Brahman? Because the limitless really cannot enter anywhere. Only if it is not there in one place, it can enter that place from some other place. Brahman being Ananta, being everywhere, entry doesn't make any sense. Then Bhashyakara finally arrived at the meaning that here entry means it is available there. That's what you have to understand. It is not that it is not there somewhere and it has entered somewhere like that. But if we say you have entered a room, you are available in that room for knowing, correct? So this availability of Brahman in one's own mind, particularly, Brahman is available to know. Buddhi Guha, in one's own intellect. So that is what we have to understand, that it is available for knowing. Then we saw that later the 148 actually talks about how everything is actually pleasing, or one loves something only because of it pleases oneself. Okay. So every love is really selfish only. And in fact, that theme will be elaborated later in another Brahmana later on called Maitreyi Brahmana. But the idea here is, then how do we get rid of this selfishness? Means you cannot get rid of the selfishness. Instead of getting rid of the selfishness, you make yourself the self of all. That is the way to go about it, correct? So the self, instead of being restricted only to one particular body, mind, sense complex, now becomes the self of all. Sarvatma Bhava is the way to go. And how to get that Sarvatma Bhava? By knowing oneself as Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. So this Aham Brahmasmi Mahavakya is given in 1410. In that itself, again, in 147 itself, Atma Ityeva Upasita, like that Vidya Sutram is there. Then in 1410 it is even clearer. It says Aham Brahmasmi. So this Brahman alone was initially ignorant, and Brahman alone knows itself as the limitless. The ignorant Brahman, which thought itself as limited, knew itself as the limitless Brahman, and then became the Atma of all, Sarvatma Bhava. The phala also is given of that knowledge. That is moksha. Then again, Avidya Sutra was there. The one who thinks that all the devas are separate from oneself and then propitiates all these devatas to get something. That person is a avidwan. That person does not know the self really. So after this Avidya Sutra, we saw that there was other vakyas which talked about Srishti again, particularly the Varna Srishti amongst devatas and amongst human beings, because Varnashrama Dharma is the basis for doing all the karma. And Avidwan is only interested in doing karma and interested in the phala, karma phala, whether in this loka or hereafter, going to some other loka. These things were presented. And finally, the Pankta, it was talked about five-fold things which are there, which are useful to do karma. Okay, Panktam was talked about. These are all the things we saw in 1-4. So that Brahmana is actually called Purusha Vidha Brahmana. Why is it called Purusha Vidha Brahmana? Because the first Vakya, the first sentence in that itself ends as Purusha Vidaha. The Prajapati is there in the form of a Purusha, in the form of a person, like that it starts. So the fourth Brahmana is called Purusha Vidha Brahmana. The fifth Brahmana, in fact, starts with this Yet Saptannani. So this Brahmana is actually called Saptanna Brahmana. Okay, 7 annas. So this Brahmana again continues about the Avidwan only, and how the Avidwan creates his own world to enjoy that. So that is the theme here. And Anna means what? Anna normally means food, whatever we eat. But whatever we consume, any stimuli we consume also can be called Anna, not just food. So here Anna means any bhogya padartha, anything which you experience and enjoy is called Anna here. So 7 types of bhogya padartha are talked about here. And that's why it starts with the Sapta Anna. What are these 7 types of bhogya, objects of enjoyment? We will see that. Okay. In fact, the Upanishad initially, this first Vakya is in the form of a sutra, means in a summarized manner it says. And then Upanishad itself takes up each of these Vakyas and it will start expanding on. It is here. So this Saptanna Brahmanam also is a very important Brahmana, because here, see, the last Brahmana, it was said that the Avidwan becomes a bhogya padartha for everybody else. He becomes the loka, correct? Lokyate iti loka, the one who is enjoyed by others. He becomes an object of enjoyment for all others. That part I hope you remember. So we saw like that. But now the Upanishad changes track. Now it is saying the Jiva, the Avidwan, is the one who is enjoying also. Now he becomes the Bhokta. And how he creates the Bhogya Jagat for himself, the world of enjoyment for himself, that is being talked about. In fact, everybody is simultaneously a Bhokta and a Bhogya for others. You are an enjoyer and you also become an object of enjoyment for others. Like that, both are there. In fact, everybody is mutually dependent. This particular mutual dependence also will be handled in another Brahmana called Madhu Brahmana later on. In the second chapter, there is a Madhu Brahmana where this interdependence, mutual dependence is shown, and then it will be shown that anything which is mutually dependent is mithya. Like that, then Brahman is presented as Satyam. That's a beautiful methodology of teaching there. We will see that later. Hopefully, it will take another year or so to reach there, I think. But anyway, so here in this Brahmana, now the Upanishad is going to present the Jiva, the Avidwan, the one who is ignorant, the ignorant person, as the one who is the enjoyer, and how this enjoyer creates his own world of enjoyment. That is the idea here. Also, why it is presented like that is Ishvara is given a free ride here. Okay, because why did Ishvara create this world? This question is there always, correct? Now Upanishad says Ishvara is not creating the world for his own enjoyment or anything. Only this ignorant jivas, they are doing more and more karma, and they keep on perpetuating this world by doing the karma. By being karta bhokta, they keep on accumulating more and more karma, and then for that karma to exhaust and for them to enjoy the results of the karma phala, Ishvara has to create the world. Something like that we have to understand here. Okay, that is the idea here. Jiva, the individuals themselves are responsible for their world what you create. In one way, in fact, each one of us is responsible for whatever you are experiencing now. So at least till now, I thought you are all blaming Bhagavan for all the difficulties you are facing in your life. But Upanishad says you cannot do even that. You are responsible for whatever you are facing. Is that clear? So let us now actually go to the Upanishad and see. Yat saptannani medhaya tapasa ajanayat pita. So pita here is the avidwan only. Avidwan jiva is called pita, the ignorant individual. He is the father. Means he is the one who has given birth to what? 7 types of anna. Okay, that which is got by medha and tapas. Now, in this context, what is medha and tapas? Later on, Bhashyakara will say. So, medha here is actually upasana or vidya, okay, meditation, and tapas is karma, not their regular meaning. But here, because the what is in discussion is because when we saw the panktam means all the different yajnas are all possible only because of these 5 factors. So panktam is the basis for karma, and then the pankta upasana also was talked about in the last vakya before. So karma and upasana are under discussion. So here medha and tapas are nothing but upasana and karma. So this jiva, pita, has created all these seven objects of enjoyment by his own karma and upasana. That's how it starts. And what are these 7? Ekamasya sadharanam. So one is common, general, means what? Regular food. Okay, whatever everybody eats, all human beings and animals eat, that is one food. Okay, that is one object of enjoyment. That is one anna. Then for the devas, 2. Dve devan abhajayat. So he divides 2 types of objects of enjoyments for the devas, or 2 annas are apportioned for the devas. Then Trini Atmane, 3 things are for his own self to enjoy. What are these 3? Later on the Upanishad will say, but I will tell right now. These 3 are nothing but Vak, Prana and Manas. So these 3 you enjoy. Your speech, your Prana, the life, and your mind. So what kind of speech you have, what kind of prana means essentially your health and everything, okay, and what kind of mind you enjoy is again a function of whatever karma and upasana you have done. Again, you cannot blame anybody for that, remember. So you have created your own speech, your own prana, and your own mind. Trini Atmane, for oneself. The Jiva is created. Atmane Apurata. Then Pashubhyaha Ekam Prayachat. One for the Pashus. For the all the living beings and animals and all that. What is that? Milk. Okay, so milk is being talked about very specially in this Brahmana, which is very interesting. Everybody wants to become a vegan. And I think veganism is okay, particularly if you are against industrial dairy, because any dairy, commercial dairy is really himsa only, because they cannot, it is not economical to keep all the bull calves. They are all separated from the mother very early on. Originally, we kept everything, all the bulls and cows also, because bulls were also economically viable to keep. The bull power was used for so many things in the village economy. Now, even in India, the commercial dairy is only himsa. I don't know, in US and all, I don't even have to say. So, if people are becoming vegan or vegan, I don't know, some people say vegan also, whatever it is. That is fine. It shows a certain concern for how animals are raised. But anyway, veganism is not really our culture. Without milk, there is no Vedika culture. So, we have to go back to the way where cows are also raised with a certain concern for their lives also, and still we should be able to use the milk, I think. Otherwise, there is no Vedika culture will not be there. You cannot do homa with soya milk and all that. Understand that. That is not, our coconut milk cannot be used. Why you cannot ask? Okay, some of these things, why question should not be asked in. So there is a saying, loosely what I remember is, when we are talking about drishta, okay, what you are supposed to understand and what you are supposed to experience yourself, there you can question any amount. Questions are encouraged. But when we are talking about adrishta, particularly about the homa, yajna, and their phala, okay, karma phala, you cannot ask too many questions. You can still clarify certain things, but you cannot keep asking why there. If the Veda says you have to use payas, or you have to use ghritam, ghee, as an offering, you cannot ask why. That is just a statement in the Veda, and Veda is giving you a means for a particular end, and you have to just take it. That's all. Okay, you cannot question that. Since you are taking Veda as a means of knowledge, you have to take it. That's all. In this case, you cannot do too much of vichara, keep on questioning why. So here, anyway, so what I was telling is, one annam is milk. So that is what the jiva is given to the pashus, it seems. Because all the beings start their life with only eating milk, correct? So milk is a very important thing. Therefore, what tasmin sarvam pratishtitam yacha praniti yachana. Okay, so now this last one, milk, is where everything is pratishtitam, is based on, everything is established on milk, it says, the Upanishad. That is because without milk there is no Vaidika karma, as I told you. And Vaidika karma alone is producing all this whole world. Like that only the karma. Karma is dependent on milk. And this entire world which you are experiencing is nothing but karma phala. Therefore, everything is based on milk. Understand? That is the logic here. So whether everything which lives or which does not live also. Yacha na praniti. Like hills and whatever, all the insentient things and sentient things, everything is only based on milk. The whole world is based on milk. Okay, that's what the Upanishad says here. Therefore, what kasmat tani nakshiyante adyamanani sarvada. Okay, so here it's asking a very interesting question. Therefore, see, everybody's annam means that which is being enjoyed by everybody, correct? 7 types of anna are created. Okay, 1 is eaten by everybody, 2 are for the devas, 3 are being enjoyed by that jiva, and 1 has been given again to all the animals. 7 are there. Now these things are being enjoyed, correct? That means they have to be exhausted soon. But they never seem to exhaust. They keep on perpetuating. So how is it that they are perpetuating without getting exhausted? So tani nakshiyante kasmat. For due to what reason that they do not exhaust? Although they are being eaten, correct? Adyamanani sarvada. All the time it is being enjoyed, eaten, consumed. Even though all these things are being consumed all the time, how is it that it never gets exhausted? This question the Upanishad is asking itself. So now Upanishad says, Yo va etam akshitim veda saha annam. Why these bhogya padarthas, these saptanna, are never getting exhausted, correct? The person who knows this then enjoys all this anna pratikena with what do we say, with a very lot of gloriously he is enjoying it, it seems. So sa devan apigachati sa urjam upajivati iti shlokaha. So the person who knows why all this bhogya padarthas are not getting exhausted, that person again goes and lives, or they obtain devatvam, he gains, he reaches the devas and he leads a very urjam upajivati. So he goes to the higher lokas and all that. That is what iti shlokaha means here. These are all the sutra form it is there. Okay, in a very summarized, briefly it is being said. All these things are now said iti shlokaha. Now they will be expanded further by the Upanishad itself. That we will see. So this is the in brief, we have seen the entire topic which is going to be discussed in this 5th Brahmana. Now let us quickly see what Bhashyakara says. Yet saptannani medhaya. So it starts like this, correct? Yet saptannani medhaya. So Bhashyakara, how does he give introduction? He says, avidya prastuta tatra avidwan anyam devatam upaste anyaha asau anyaha aham asmiti. So avidya is continuing, and in avidya, what the ignorant person avidwan, the avidwan worships anyam devata, devatas who are other than oneself, thinking that they are different from me. Okay, anyaha, so they are different, I am different from them. Anyaha aham asmiti. And such an avidwan also is a one who identifies with varna and ashrama. Saha varna ashrama abhimanaha karma kartavyataya niyataha juhoti. So with varna ashrama abhimana and also the idea that it has been enjoined upon oneself, it is my duty, this is what I have to do. I have to do all this karma. Like that, it is to be done. Like that, an attitude is there, correct? The niyataha, whatever is to be done, whatever has been mandated by the shastras, I have to do. So with that attitude, this person, Juhoti, he is doing all this fire rituals, okay, yajnas. So Juhotyadi karma bihi kama prayuktaha devadinam upakurvan sarvesham bhutanam lokaha iti uttam. So Bhashyakara is essentially now summarizing whatever was there after 1,410. Okay, So this person with this abhimana, this identity with varnashrama, and also considering that he has to do all the rituals which are mandated in the Veda, so he is doing all the karma. Juhotyadi means juhoti, like that. Juhuyat and all, there are mandates are there in the Veda. Means basically fire, whatever you offer in the fire, such karma are all called mentioned here. Okay, and they are doing it because of their own desires, kama prayuktaha, and in the process they are actually helping the devas. Correct? All the offerings are being offered only to the devas, and in this manner, this avidwan becomes everybody's loka, bhutanam lokaha iti uttam. So the avidwan was called as the loka for everybody, means an object of enjoyment. This avidwan becomes an object of enjoyment for everybody. So that was already said in the previous brahmana, iti uttam. Now what? Yathacha swakarmabhihi ekaikena sarvabhutaihi asau lokaha bodhyatvena srishtaha. Okay, so like how this person, the avidwan who is doing all this karma for the sake of others, okay, the other people are enjoying this avidwan's activities and whatever he is offering because they themselves have gained a certain position. Correct? They have become the devas. So how did they become that? Means they have done their own karma and upasana. Okay, so all the devas, they have done their own karma. Okay, so karma bihi, by doing their own karma, ekaikena sarvabhutaihi asau lokaha bodhitvena srishtaha. So this person was even created for their enjoyment because they have done their karma. Okay, so all the different beings, one by all of them, ekaikena means all of them, these different beings, sarvabhutaihi, including the devas and whoever is enjoying, even pashus and all that, who is enjoying this person, they have all created this person in one way because they have done their own karma and upasana, and according to that only they are enjoying this person's karma, whatever he is doing for the sake of all the beings and devas. So that way they have created whatever they are enjoying. In the same manner, evam asau api, in the same manner, this person, the avidwan, the ignorant person who has been now shown as a bhogya vastu for others, he also is creating. So now that's what I told you. In this brahmana, now the ignorant person is also shown as a bhokta. Initially he was shown as a bhogya for others, but here Bhashyakara points out that even for others, how did he become the bhogya? Because of their own karma. They have done the karma, and the karma, that karma phala only they are now enjoying. For that purpose only this guy got created and he is doing all these things. Similarly, he himself also is creating by doing karma his own karma phala. Okay, because of that only he is going to enjoy whatever he is going to enjoy. That's what he is saying. Evam asau api juhotyadi panta karma bihi sarvani bhutani sarvancha jagat atma bhojyatvena asrijat. So this person, this avidwan also, again doing all these different karma, all the 5 rituals which are based on these 5 factors. Correct? 5 factors. Pankta we saw already. Wife, son, then 2 types of wealth, all these things we saw. Correct? So they only, with these 5 factors only you can do karma. So this jiva, this avidwan also is creating all the bhutas, okay, all the other beings for his own enjoyment. That means he enjoys all the other beings are enjoying him. This is where the mutual dependence comes into the picture. Okay, for his own enjoyment, atma bhojyatvena asrijat. So he has created by doing his own karma. His karma phala is now creating his world of enjoyment. That's what Bhashyakara says here. So in this manner, what evam ekaikaha swakarma vidya anurupyena. So in keeping with one's own karma and upasana, vidya here means upasana, anurupyena means in keeping with that. Okay, so each and everyone, in keeping with their own whatever karma they have done, whatever upasana they have done, sarvasya jagataha bhokta bodhyancha. So they are both the creator of this entire world for their enjoyment, and they themselves become an object of enjoyment in this world again. Both are there for everybody. That's what he is pointing out. So everybody is both an enjoyer, and at the same time they also become an object of enjoyment for others. So this is all again how very highly complicated. If you keep on analyzing this, how can, because sometimes even when we talk about karma, we talk about all these things, correct? People try to understand, like if somebody's son died last week, in fact. So what do we say then? Whether that it is that person's bad karma or the parents' bad karma. So we have to say somewhere both are, it is karma of both, correct? So how Bhagavan is linking all these karma of different people, it cannot be understood by us. We are too limited to understand that. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan at one point says, Gahana karmano gatihi. So the karma, how it operates, correct, is too mysterious for us to know. You can understand karma to an extent with our limited intellect. Otherwise, it is all only for Sarvajnaha. All knowing Ishvara alone can understand this. We cannot understand it, or even trying to understand itself is not going to help you really. That vichara we should not go into too much. But broadly, what we understand, we are both, everybody is co-creating the world with their own karma and upasana, correct? And in this co-created world, everybody is also an enjoyer and an object of enjoyment simultaneously to each other. That is what the Upanishad is trying to say. And since this interdependence and co-creation and all is there, that means, see, anywhere if two things are mutually dependent, there has to be a third reality on which these two mutual dependent things depend on. Okay, understand that. Like for example, let us say human heart is there. Now human heart is pumping blood. The heart itself requires blood to pump. Then who pumped the blood to the heart first to start the heart? For it to pump the blood again, to for that blood to flow in your body and all that, means there is a certain catch-22 kind of situation is there, correct? Which one came first means, then we have to say your mother's blood only started the heart or something, we have to say. A third thing has to be there. If two mutually dependent things are there, you cannot see which one came first, correct? That means there has to be a third thing independent of these two things, which must have got involved in making them mutually dependent. Similarly, what the Upanishad will point out later is that this entire world is mutually dependent, and because of that itself it is mithya. Okay, it cannot be satyam. That teaching we'll see later. But anyway, here, so everybody is both a bhokta and a bhojya. And also see further Bhashakara says Sarvasya Sarvaha Karta Karyam Cha Ityartha. So everybody is a cause for everybody else and also an effect of everybody else's karma. See, the world you are facing is the effect of your own karma. So there you become the cause. And you being in somebody else's life is also an effect of their karma. So this way you have become an effect. So you are both a cause and an effect at the same time. So this is how it is. So what etadevacha vidya prakarane madhu vidyayam vakshamaha. So Bhashakara says, so this only will be now Later on, there is a Vidya Prakarana called Madhu Vidya. This I told you, correct? Madhu Vidya will come. It is in the second chapter. Madhu Brahmana is there. In there, we will be talking about this. Bhashyakara says the same thing. How everything is mutually dependent. So Sarvam Sarvasya Karyam Madhu Iti. So everything is an effect of everything else, and that is called Madhu then. Okay, and that mutual dependence will be mentioned, and then it will be used to teach Atma Ekatva Vijnanartham, he says, because everything which is Madhu becomes Vidya and Atma alone is Satyam. That will be taught through this Madhu Vidya. So, Yad Asau Juhotyadina Panktena Kamyena Karmana Atma Bhojyatvena Jagad Asrijata Vijnanena Cha Tad Jagat Sarvam Saptadha Pravibhajyamanam Karya Karanatvena Saptannani Uchyante Bhojyatvat Tena Asau Pita Tesham Annana. So this person who has created, okay, for everything for his own enjoyment, Atma Bhojyatvena, in the form of things to be enjoyed by himself. And how did he create that? By doing all the karma. Juhotyadina Panktena Kamyena Karmana. By doing Kamya Karma, means karma which is impelled by one's own desire to enjoy things, and which depend on this five, and for that purpose, objects to be enjoyed. Okay, and also not only just karma, vijnanena cha. Vijnanena here again means upasana. So both by karma and upasana, this person has created one's own world of enjoyment. And that entire world, that Jagat Sarvam, Saptada Pravibhajyamanam, means 7 ways it is now being divided or categorized. Okay, in the form of cause and effect again, Karya and Karana, because in this 7 also, 4 will be Karana, 3 is Karya. The whatever the Jiva enjoys, correct, his own Vak, Prana and Manas, that is called the Karya, Karyannam, and Karananna is the other 4. Okay. So like that, or it is also called Sadhana and Sadhya. Sadhananna are 4, Sadhyanna are 3. So it is looked upon like that. So this Sapta Annani Uchyante, so the 7 Annas are being talked about here. Because why it is called Anna? Because it is enjoyed. Bhojyatvat, anything which is Bhogya can be called as Anna. That which is consumed, not necessarily only food. And for all of them, this person is the Pita, father. For all these Tesham Annanam, Tena Asau Pita. Why this person is Pita? Because he is the one who has created, correct? By his own karma and upasana. Therefore, he is called the Pita or father of all these 7 Annas. Etesham Annanam Saviniyogana Sutra Bhutaha Sankshepataha Prakashakatvat Ime Mantraha. So iti shlokaha is there here. So that's what Bhashyakara here he says, that all these 7 Annas and their purpose or use, Saviniyogana means along with their use and purpose, is being told here in a brief manner, Sankshepataha, Sutra Bhutaha also, in the form of sutras, means very brief statements. And it has been revealed here by all this, this first Vakya, but later on, they will be now expanded by all this, by the Brahmana itself. The Upanishad will expand and give its own commentary on each of these Vakyas that we will be seeing. So the whatever is going to come now are going to be the explanations for whatever is there here in the first Vakya. In fact, Bhashyakara doesn't even give any Bhashya on this. That is because the Upanishad itself is going to give explanation. There he is going to talk about anyway in detail. So if you see here, this is more like an introduction to this whole Brahmana. and he doesn't specifically talk about each of these vakyas. He has not given any commentary for these to start with. So straight away he goes to the second vakya and there only he starts his commentary. So let us see this, what is there here. This is a very big vakya. Anyway, we'll see a portion of it and then we can see Bhashya again, we can come back. Yat saptannani medhaya tapasa ajanayat pita iti medhaya hi tapasa ajanayat pita. So it is repeating. Ekamasya sadharanam iti idameva asya tat sadharanam annam yad idam adyate. So what is the meaning here? So here it says yat saptannani, these 7 annas, yat medaya tapasa ajanayat. So that which is being produced, created by one's own karma and upasana, okay, by this pita, this father, this jiva, avidwan, creates this. And the same thing with he, indeed, these 7 annas are created only by this pita, by the father, by this ignorant person. Is repeated only to show that this is a well-known fact. So sometimes repetition and this he indeed is used only to say that this fact is a well-known thing. In fact, part of this was anyway talked about even in the previous Brahmana. In other places in Shatapatha Brahmana also this is being talked about. So this is a well-known fact. So it simply repeats the same thing with an indeed added into it. Now the Upanishad goes into each one of those 7 annas. Ekam asya sadharanam iti idameva asya tat sadharanam annam yadidam adyate. So here ekam asya sadharanam, that is being commented by the Upanishad itself. So ekam asya sadharanam means what? Ekam asya sadharanam iti. Then it gives the commentary. What is that? Idameva asya tat sadharanam annam yadidam adyate. So that which is being normally eaten by everybody, commonly, generally, that is the first one. Ekamasya sadharanam is that whatever food which is eaten by everybody normally. Okay, after giving this commentary, Upanishad then gives you some value also here. Okay, it doesn't just stop there. So what it says is very interesting. So it says saya etad upaste nasa papmanaha vyavartate mishram hi etat. So what is this Upanishad saying here? See, since food is common for everybody wants food. That means you should not eat only yourself. You should always cook for everybody, feed as many people as possible. So this Annadanam is a very, very important thing for us in our country. Understand that. Because only in Annadanam you can satisfy somebody. You can make the other guy say enough. No other, you give money, they'll never say enough. You give how much ever you give, they'll keep on asking more. But food is not like that, correct? You can make the other guy say enough. You can feed them fully. And Annadanam was considered as a great value. Understand this. In our country, selling food was considered as a papa karma. We did not have any restaurants. Even 100 years back, everybody went from all the way down to Kanyakumari up to Kashi, correct? Going to Kashi Yatra was a big thing. We all also did some Kashi Yatra and all that, but that's a different Kashi Yatra. But originally the Kashi Yatra, people walked, and throughout the way, people had also built Annachatras. In fact, you can stay also. They had built it at a distance where people can normally walk in a day. How much they can walk? In those distances, you always found some annachatra where people can stay. They will be given some food also always. So anna means you should always distribute it freely, no selling. Okay, that was very deeply ingrained in our way of life and culture, but that has changed now. In fact, when initially some people started hotels and all that, it was looked upon as a papa karma. In fact, I know personally, my own guru used to avoid going for bhiksha. If a hotelier calls him for a bhiksha, he won't go. He will give some reason and avoid. And he has told me personally later on that he does not go to places where they sell food. People who sell food to their houses, he won't go for bhiksha. He doesn't tell it to them and hurt them or anything, but he doesn't go. He avoids. So that kind of sentiment was there even for my own guru. Even as a sannyasi, he did not go for bhiksha to a house where those people were running hotels and selling food, because he thought selling food is not correct. That is one reason why in all our Gurukulams also what Swamiji started, food is always free. Anybody comes, they can eat. Nobody will question them. In fact, many times this was raised even as some kind of a complaint with Swamiji. They will say many people are coming from Coimbatore to Anaikatti. When we were studying in Anaikatti as students, to the Gurukulam people will come on Saturdays and Sundays. Particularly Sundays, many people will come more like picnic. They will all come and eat and go. They won't even attend classes. So people we used to complain to Swamiji, but Swamiji will say, no, everybody who comes has to eat. Whether they attend class or not and all is okay. Whenever they get some vasana for that, they will come. Whenever they get interested. But at least even if they come, you have to give food and you can't charge for it or anything. So like that, selling food really is not something encouraged. And here the Upanishad says the one who is only interested in eating. Etad upaste, etad here means the sadharanam annam. Upaste here really means one who really is only interested in eating. And here we have to supply that he is interested in eating himself without sharing it with others. That person cannot escape from papa. Nasa papmanaha vyavartate. That person cannot get rid of papa. It is said here. Okay. Mishram hi etat. That is because this anna is common for everybody. Okay, it is not for any one person. Everybody wants to eat, and every time you eat, somebody else is looking at you, it seems. Bhashyakara will say later on. So the very act of eating causes problem for others, it seems, because they are also looking at you. How can I, or I don't have this food, I also want this food to eat, but this person is eating. So one's very act of eating itself causes distress to others. Therefore, you have to first feed everybody and only eat. Like that, there is a sentiment is there. Upanishad also is saying that here, interestingly. Okay, then dve devana dve devan abhajayat iti. So next here, dve devan abhajayat. For that, Upanishad itself is giving commentary here. Iti hutam cha prahutam cha. So what are these two which are being given as annam for devas? Hutam. Hutam means whatever is offered into the fire, in the fire ritual, in the yajna. And prahutam means whatever is later on again offered to devas, like bali. But not, you do not offer it in fire. Okay. So hutam and prahutam also can be considered as the two things which are given to devas. Tasmat devebhyo juhvati cha pracha juhvati yataha ahuhu darshapurna masau iti tasman na ishti ajukaha syat. Okay, so initially Upanishad itself is saying that this hutam and prahutam are the two types of anna for the devas. So therefore people do this Juhvati and Pracha Juhvati means that's what they later on offer as a this Bali Pradhanam and all you can do. But then Upanishad itself says this is one view only. Okay, or this is the Purva Paksha view. Because what others say is that what? Darsha Purna Masa Viti. So there's a Darsha and Purna Masa like that. These are all Nite, they are all Niyata Karmas. Okay, you have Naimitika Karma, you have to do them always. One you have to do on Amavasya, another you have to do on Paurnami. So these two karma predominantly are offering to only Devas. Okay. So in the Bhashyakara's Bhashya, if you see, Bhashyakara says this is only Purva Paksha view, this Prahutam, Hutam and Prahutam. Instead, in fact, what we have to take here is the two annas which are offered to the Devatas are this Darsha and Purnamasa. So Darsha Purnamasa is supposed to be done by all Vaidikas. And whatever you are offering during this Darsha and Purnamasa ritual, that is offered to the Devatas. You are giving Dhanam to the Devatas there. That is why Upanishad itself says, Tasman na ishtiyajukaha syat. Ishtiyajukaha means what? Kameshti, like that Bhashyakara says. Ishti means any worship is called Ishti. Okay, Yaj. Yaj only is the dhatu there, but Yaj becomes Ishti because of the suffix which comes. Okay, so Ishti Yajukaha means what? You are doing a yajna, you are worshipping through a yajna, but with a desire, desiring for something in return. Okay, so don't habitually become a person who does this Darsha Purnamasa expecting something in return. Don't become Ishti Yajukaha like that Upanishad says. Why? Because this Darsha Purnamasa, whatever offering you are making, it is supposed to be like a dhanam you are giving to the Devatas. It is not for your own any expecting something in return. Okay, any dana you do it just as a dana. Okay, not and you cannot give dhanam and then ask for money or something in return. Like that, this Darsha Purnamasa you do, these two annas you offer to the Devatas, but do not do it expecting something in return for yourself. Like that, here also this Upanishad is giving some value. In fact, while commenting on this, Bhashyakara will again quote Bhagavad Gita also. Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, if you see, Bhagavan says, Tairdattaneya pradayebhyaha yo bhunte stena eva saha. Like that, Bhagavan says that this for Devatas you are giving offering, and Devatas also are protecting you by giving their blessings and whatever. They only give you all the rains and all the whatever harvest you are having. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship between the Devatas and the whoever is doing the karma, the jivas. But the jiva, the one who is getting all these from the Devatas, but do not offer to the Devata. Okay. Yo bhunte, the one who is only enjoying without offering it to the Devatas. That person is a thief. Stenaha, like that Bhagavan says. Okay, so here also you have to offer to the Devatas. You just offer like a dana and you don't expect anything from them, and also you should not stop offering. Just enjoying, but you don't offer anything to the Devas, that is also not correct. So then further what? Pashubhyaha ekam prayachate. So here, so after this Trini Atmane Akurata is not being commented here, interestingly, by the Upanishad. It just straight away jumps to this Pashubhyaha ekam prayachate. So in the Bhashya, in fact, Bhashyakara will ask this question: why these three has been left out And directly the Upanishad has jumped to this, commenting on this. And there is a discussion on this actually. We'll see that. So here directly now Upanishad is talking about this Pashubhyaha ekam prayachate. Iti tat payaha. So what has been given to the Pashus as annam, that is payas. Payas means milk. So payohi eva agre manushyaschа pashavascha upajivanti. Tasmat kumaram jatam ghritam vai va agre pratilehayanti. Stanam va anudhapayanti. Atha vatsam jatam ahuhu atrunada iti. So now Upanishad is giving an explanation why payas is the food for all the pashus, all the animals, human being included in the animal kingdom here. That is because in the beginning, okay, whether you are Manushya or animals, everybody lives only on milk. Payaha hi agre manushyaascha pashavascha upajivanti. They all drink this milk and only live. They all live on milk only. Therefore, what? Tasmat, when a child is born, kumaram jatam. So there is a jata karma is there. Okay, in the samskaras, in fact, garbhadhana, there is a samskara even before the birth happens. But after the birth, immediately you are supposed to do a karma called jata karma. And in the jata karma, what they do is they will take some ghee and just give it to the child. Okay, just not that you don't pour too many, just on the lips you keep. Pratilehayanti. In the beginning, you give the ghee when you do the jata karma samskara. And if you don't do the jata karma samskara, anyway, the child will suckle the milk. Stanam va anudhapayanti. Even those who don't do the jata karma, they anyway give the milk, mother's milk. So this milk, anyway, even ghritam is milk. Okay, the ghee is nothing but a product of milk only. So whichever way it is, whether they first give ghritam or they directly suckle the infant, and then the infant is having milk. So milk is the one which you take first, and you live on the milk for some time, correct? That's why atha vatsam jatam ahuhu. So if a calf is born, let us say, what does people ask? Okay, how old it is? So if they ask like that, then the answer is what? Atrinada means what? It is not yet even eating grass. So it has not grown up to a stage where it can eat grass. It is still only drinking milk. Okay, initially calves, when they are born, even in our Goshala, they cannot have anything else other than the mother's milk, correct? So in fact, for the first 2 weeks, we don't even milk the cow. Only the calf drinks. But if you see the commercial dairy, they I don't know what they do really, but they start selling even that what is it called, that we call it. See, initially for first 2-3 days, you get milk from the cow, correct? That milk is called collyrium or something. I don't remember the word correctly. And that milk, if you boil it, it will break immediately. Then you can make a sweet out of that. In fact, Telugu people make a nice sweet out of that milk. Even I have tried that, making it here sometimes. But that milk is supposed to be mainly for only the calf. Okay. Because that will give the immunity and all to the calf. The calf is supposed to take that milk primarily. But even that they do not, because that milk is valued highly, people actually take that milk out of the cow and sell it also. Anyway, but a calf is supposed to only drink milk for some time. Even human children are like that. Then only you introduce them to other kind of food. So this calf is referred to as Atrinada, means the one who is not still able to eat grass. Like that it is mentioned. So from this, what we understand is initially everybody lives only of milk. So milk is the one which is the annam. for all the Pashus. And okay, so we'll see the rest of the things next week. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.